Hey, what's going on, my friends? It's Dave Sharpe. Welcome to Wake Up Legendary. And you already know how we do it here. We have somebody from our actual client base, believe it or not, every morning here on the show. And we appreciate all of the love and support that comes in for each one of our guests and for this show, for those of you who are tuning in. And if you're new here, just know that these shows are completely unscripted, unplanned, unprepared for the most part, meaning that what you're hearing is what I'm hearing for the very first time. And we like to keep it that way because everybody has the most unique and authentic experience that way, including you, the listener, because you are learning right along with me and you're hearing things right along with me for the very first time about the journey of this client who we're talking to. And the journey is not all about highlighting the highlights. It's not all about only talking about the good things. It's not about only, talking about the massive wins. It's about talking about what it took to get there and what it's going to take in order for you also to experience success. So you have realistic expectations rather than pipe dreams and visions of unicorns running through fields of flowers and that it's all going to happen in 24 hours. So with that being said, my friends, please help me welcome a full-time sales leader who is redefining herself through digital marketing. Her name is Kim. Welcome.
Hi, how's it going?
Great. And was everything that I said there accurate and true?
That's totally accurate. I am certainly a full-time sales leader, but I really do feel, and I'm sure hear it today throughout your questions, but you'll see how I'm sort of redefining what that means to me and how I'm looking at myself now, which is great.
And we haven't talked either, right? So
We have not.
Which is kind of weird and maybe makes you a little bit nervous.
Yeah, it's always a little bit nerve-wracking, but I think, I'm an avid listener to the show, so I feel very comfortable. I feel like I know you already, but we haven't spoken yet, so you'll hopefully find out a lot of good things. Hopefully there'll be some hat throws and some golden nuggets. I'm setting myself up for some big expectations here.
Okay. I'm wound up.
Building the excitement.
It's, hold on.
Get that arm ready. That's right. Do some stretches.
Get that rotator cuff ready. So, talk to us about, how you got here, what you were looking for, if you found it, or if you think you found it, what, did you try before? Just give us a little nutshell version of how you found us here in the first place.
Yeah, absolutely. I came across Legendary probably about 6 months ago, back in June, and life was already sort of crazy for me. I have at the time she was 6 months old. I have a 6-month-old baby. And then I had a 2-year-old, so 2 under 2, which was just insane, as I'm sure you're aware. I had also just experienced a miscarriage and had some other health issues going on, and work was crazy. And, I'm sure up in the middle of the night, just scrolling on TikTok, and came across another mom who was really making some big claims in terms of how much money she was able to make through this thing called digital marketing or affiliate marketing, which I had never really heard of before. And I was like, yeah, right. Scam alert, right? As we all sort of do. But as it happens, it just keeps coming across my page. I keep exploring it a little further. And I wasn't necessarily on the lookout for a way to make money online. But as you said in my intro, I'm a salesperson. I love making money. It is my passion in life. But, I'm always sort of on the lookout on ways to make more money, right? Because there we go. Yes.
I love that you owned that. Just say what is true for you. And I mean, quite frankly, my God, who doesn't love making money? Not because we love to, or you love to sit there and stare at your bank account and feel so big and rich and powerful, but it's because of what it does for you. And it's also it's a little bit of a sport, right? I mean,
Yes.
we making money not have to feel like, um, like torture, you know. I mean, it's also all about the frame in which we look at it. And if we look at it as, hey, I love this, it comes to me, it's easy for me to get, it flows to me smoothly, people like to give it to me because I provide so much value, like it becomes something that we also start to begin to feel like we deserve. But anyways, we're getting
Yeah,
off
no,
track here.
absolutely. I think there's this taboo around saying that you like to make money or that you want to be rich or that money makes you happy, right? There's always sort of this the naysayers that are like, oh, money doesn't make you happy. But I absolutely disagree. I think money allows you the freedom, whether it's time freedom or financial freedom, to do the things that you want to do and to spend the time with the people that you want to spend the time with the most. And it's just one less stressor that you have to have in life, right? And, throughout my career, I've interviewed many junior salespeople. And one of the questions I ask is like, what motivates you? What motivates you in your day? Like, what gets you up in the morning? And usually if they don't say money, like I want to make a lot of money in this job, they're out for me. Like I really want somebody that is motivated to make their life better. And, we live in a capitalist society where money does that. So I think it's just the truth. But when I came across some of these posts talking about this way to make money online, I actually, a little bit different than some of the other people that you've had on the show. Like I wasn't looking necessarily to be a stay-at-home mom. I love my career. I love, climbing the ladder and being a part of big strategic conversations. And obviously, again, like making money as a part of the job that I have. So it wasn't necessarily my goal to start out to be a stay-at-home mom. And that I say that with the biggest caveat in the entire world, that I think that is probably the hardest job in the entire world, is being a stay-at-home mom. And maybe that's why I don't want to do it, to be completely honest. But at the end of the day, and what I've seen through the possibilities and the opportunity of digital marketing, is that I may not retire from my career, or if I do, it's not to be a stay-at-home mom, but it's just to be able to spend time with my kids who I adore, and I want to be a part of those milestones, and I want to be a part of their life in so many different ways, and I want to be present in those opportunities, and having an additional source of income is allowing me to do that. So like I said, by no means am putting down any stay-at-home moms. I think you're the best out there, or stay-at-home parents. So that was sort of just like a little bit of a differentiator for me, is like I was looking at it as an additive to what I was doing already. And I think that it was something that allowed me to work either a little bit before work, or a little bit, during my lunch hour, or a little bit after, when the kids went to bed at night. And it wasn't something that was a complete 180 or complete switch that was taking up all my time, that I could still do both. I could still be it all to everybody. So that was the big way that I found it. So I came across a post like most people do, and checked it out. Did my research for sure, because I had tried some MLMs in the past, and I won't say which ones, but I've tried a couple different ones, had mild success. And I don't think that at the core, like at a foundational level, MLMs are bad. I think that most normal corporations are built like a pyramid. I think that they have very good operations, and like there's a lot of opportunity to make a lot of money through MLMs, but it just wasn't for me. I got the cringe when I tried to reach out to family and friends to sell my lotions and potions, as you say. But I did my research, and I was like, well, what the heck? I'll do $7. Like if it's a scam, it's a scam. Like it's $7, who cares? And then my mind was blown, to be quite honest. You've done such a spectacular job putting together such education, so much value in such a short amount of time, that when I got to the stage where you could invest. And we'll probably get here. I'm probably getting way ahead of you, but
Oh, go ahead.
when
here having my cup of coffee.
When I got to the stage of, meeting with the business advisor, I forget his name, but poor guy, I really gave him the runaround because I was just like, you're not getting this amount of money out of me. Like, there's no way. I did my research. I know that this upsell is coming, blah, 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 blah. I bought it like that night. I invested in the blueprints that night. And I'm so glad that I did because I don't think I could have been successful so early on without it. I'll pause so you can actually talk for a second, but hopefully that was some information.
Two salespeople here sitting here talking. Wow. That was really, really something. Really, I mean,
Sorry.
no, Tim, that was great. I mean, so many things to stretch out and touch on there, from just the fact that you have unique personal goals, and we all should take a moment to kind of really ask ourselves, like, what do I want? Like, what do I like? Do I want to be home all the time with my kids? Like, ooh, that's a lot, I know I am thankful for school. Not for myself, but for my kids. Because this career, this business, sales, marketing, and the way in which I've used it over the past 13 years through these core 4 business models have given me the resources to be able to send my children to the schools that I want to send them to. We happen to send our kids to a Montessori school. We feel real comfortable with that, and we love it, and they love it, and it allows us to have that time and space, because neither one of me or Aaron wants to be a stay-at-home parent and homeschool our children. Now, that is absolutely no, as you said, judgment on anybody who does. We want to take a lot of those principles, like raising wild boys, like critical thinking skills, like all these kind of things that eating organic foods, like all the stuff, but we just enjoy working and having time during the day to be productive, to focus on ourselves, to focus on self-care. And then when the kids get home, I know for me, I'm just all in on them, like from the time, not only in the morning, taking them to school and before they wake up, but also when they get home. So I love that and the reason why I'm reflecting a little bit myself is because I'd like to invite everybody else to do the same thing. Reflect a little bit on what you like. I think is such a good practice. And so often we feel like we need to do what everybody else is doing. And that's just not the case. It becomes more fun when you identify your own goals, what you want, and when you're honest about it, and when you own it. And you've just given us a great example of how to do that. What sort of light bulbs went off for you as you were going through the challenge? I mean, help us understand a little bit about what was so enlightening to you as somebody who already knows so much about sales and has so much experience. What sort of light bulbs started to go off to you? Was it that, you finally see how people are making money online and you're like, that's why that person's shooting those videos, posting this and that? Like, did it give you, as I like to say, the marketing lenses? So when you put onto the internet, you can actually truly see, right? It's almost like X-ray vision out on the internet, to where you can see somebody's intentions or their kind of business model behind what they're doing. Anyways, what was it for you?
Absolutely. At the start, I think I went in a little bit blind. I didn't have my lenses on. Mine aren't sunglasses, but I have my blue lights. But I think that I went in thinking that I knew what was up when it came to these online opportunities to make money, which I think actually was good at the start. It gave me some maybe false confidence, but it gave me some confidence being like, oh, I see that this girl's making X amount of dollars in a month. Like, I can do that. Like easy, which I certainly ate my humble pie at the beginning. Like it was, nothing necessarily that I thought, and there was work that went into it. But, a lot of the posts that you see from many of the successful affiliates as part of this program in particular, it's claimed, and I do believe, like, you can start with no experience and no followers and $0 in income, and everybody starts at the same level. And that was very intriguing to me because I kind of thought that I was starting with a leg up. And I quickly found out that I had no idea what I was talking about. And there was just such a door that opened that, introduced me to a whole new world, a whole new side of the internet. That was mind blowing. Like I said before, like the core 4 business model, and like, it was connecting a lot of the dots for me of some things I knew a little bit about, but just really didn't understand how to automate, how to put systems behind in order to really accelerate that growth. I think a lot of the ways that I had tried in the past, either through the MLMs or even through like, my corporate job in sales, like, it was experience, but it wasn't the right experience necessarily. And it took a lot of like rewiring perhaps to start a business fresh, to start, all new social media accounts. And I think the most intriguing part was just that I could utilize a lot of free tools and a lot of free systems to help do this while I was sleeping. And it didn't have to be so manual, right? And that you could create something much like digital products and like that whole subset of the business of digital marketing is just wild. Like, it's so, you don't have to make a product. You don't have to hold inventory. You don't have to have a sales team. You just create it once, put it up in your stand store and call it a day. Like, start making money forever. Right. And that was just such an interesting theory. And then affiliate marketing in general, I had done some of like the refer a friend programs, and I had done like things that I guess were affiliate marketing that I just didn't know that I was doing. But again, like, I think just learning how to systemize everything and how to automate everything really just inspired me. I was like, oh, this could be huge. Like, this could be something that really takes off it's on its own once you like put in the hard work at the beginning. And not to say that doesn't take hard work and being consistent over time, but once you put in those hours at the very start, that's really like the hardest part, I think, is then it all like things start clicking and you're like, oh, well, if I could do it for this one offer, then I can do it for this. You start growing your streams of income. It starts compounding and you just start to see it all. Now I get to help other people do that, which is awesome.
Yeah. I that was a very well put description of how this journey goes and what it looks like. For those of you who are wondering, what can I expect? It really is the beginning of kind of grasping everything. And that was one of the reasons why we named the blueprints the blueprint, because we really wanted to try to give people, you're standing there looking at a house, and we all look at houses and we go, wow, that's a great house. Wow, I'd love to live in that house. Wow, it must be nice to live in that house. Like, everybody's got lots of different things to say when we look at a nice house, like a big, nice house. But the question really is how do I build that house? How did that house get, like, that's the question that oftentimes we don't ask, right? It's like, how do we build that house? Now that might be, well, I build it by going out and making money. That's one obvious answer. What I'm more talking about is, obviously we look at something and we desire it, but we don't really know how it's constructed. We don't understand how the walls are standing, how, and so sometimes we go in and we grab a tool and we say, well, I got it. I know how, right? I grab this hammer. and then we're like, everything's a nail. And that's great if you know how to use one of the tools, kind of like a funnel builder or kind of like an autoresponder. But if you don't understand how to use it within the concept of the blueprint to build the house, it's only, the hammer is actually no good. I mean, it's good, but I mean, you're most likely going to just hurt yourself, or
Yeah.
walk around with a hammer and people are going to think you're some weird killer, So it's like understanding at least somewhat how the house is built. You don't have to understand every trade. You don't have to know to be an electrician. You don't have to know plumbing to be the utmost expert, but you have to kind of understand how they integrate together, right? And that's sort of like with our business. Like, you don't have to be an advertising expert. You don't have to be a free social media content creating expert. You don't have to be the best in the world. But it's good to have a little bit of an understanding, just enough to be dangerous, sort of like a general contractor, to where you know when to apply what. You know when to call in what trade, right? Oh, it's time for some advertising. Hey, we have something here. This type of post worked really good. Let's keep using it. That's like you find a plumber that you really like. Let's keep calling him back. And that's how most general contractors actually build their business. They use the same subs whenever they're building a house. They call in the same guys or gals, and they use them over and over again, versus always trying to find or do something new or find new people, right? You find a formula that works within the blueprint. You also begin to know how to read blueprints. When a customer calls and says, I have a house that I want to build, could you send me the blueprint so I could look it over? Right? It's like, okay, I want to build a digital product. Let's review the blueprint. And as you said, it's, there's some go-to tools. There's some simple, traffic generating approaches that you try at first. And I'm using an analogy here because in marketing, there's nothing that is more powerful than the perfect analogy. And hopefully that's resonating with some of you to understand that. But I also just love, and then I'll turn it over to you for what's coming up for you, because I know something's coming up for you.
You know it. I have something to say.
The other thing I just wanted to say real quick was that you touched on free tools and free social media platforms. We really have not grasped, any of us, me included, the opportunity that we have right now to be able to create content on free social media platforms. Like, most of the time you have to pay to play, meaning that to advertise and to get yourself out there, you have to pay. You have to pay to put your business up on that billboard. You have to pay to get your commercial on that radio. You have to pay to run your ads on Facebook. But what the big breakthrough, the big opportunity right now that I want everybody to understand, that you just touched on, was that we can create free content on these social media platforms that are free to join.
Yeah.
And post as much of that content as you want. And the only thing that you have to do is figure out how to post stuff that people like, how to post stuff that people find entertaining and educational and edutainment. That's the only thing. I mean, yes, setting up funnels and knowing what to do with that traffic is absolutely important. And it's part of the main course of what we teach here. Hey, once you have people paying attention to you and you have an audience, here's kind of where to direct them so you can turn those eyeballs and that attention into actual money, into actual, earnings. However, it really starts with understanding that we can advertise for free.
It's a beautiful thing. It's incredible. And it's like nothing we've ever seen before in history. The internet has changed the world. The fact that Kim, had a mom who works a job and sits in her basement in the Midwest, has access to literally billions of people around the world at any given moment, is outrageous. Like, that's like it's just insane that I could just make one video that's 7 seconds long and my message could reach potentially millions of people for a single video. And what I wanted, like, what I've really tried to incorporate into how I create content and how I try to utilize these platforms is to follow a test, learn, and adapt methodology. Like, I really try not to be so stuck in my ways and so, like, you know, being a know-it-all, like, oh, I know how to make great content, and just like listen maybe a little bit to my audience and like what they're reacting to in terms of the content that I have, and testing out new things and seeing like, okay, yeah, like I'm learning a little bit about what my audience might like, what they don't like, and then adapting it, and just like not being so stuck on one particular thing. You know, like for a while I was very, I guess, annoying to myself around like everything in my like text had to be the same font. It all had to be red and white. And like, I wanted my brand page to look a certain way. It didn't matter because I started to switch it up, and guess what? My views went up. So like no one cared about that. But I, you know, had to, again, just be a little bit more flexible with my own strategies, my own learnings that I'm hopefully taking over the course of, you know, the few months that I've been doing this. And just try something new. What's it going to hurt? You put up a video and no one likes it. Oh, well, you're going to do 2 more that day anyway. So yeah, the test, learn, and adapt strategy is big.
I love that. I want to take a quick question. ATN says, looking at getting into the ADH niche. Huh? What? Wait. What? Right? I mean, any pointers? Yeah. I mean, what a fun niche to create content in and advertise, you know, products, courses, coaching programs, events, whatever, about. You know, it's like ADHD, ADD, you know, is something that even if you don't have it nowadays, or you're not like diagnosed with it nowadays, I think everybody can relate to struggling with focus, you know, like being able to focus. And most everybody can relate to, you know, hold on a second.
Exactly right.
I just got distracted.
What timing?
Yeah, I had to unlock the door for my tech guy. I just realized he was
I'm
there. So, but wow, like combining a little bit of education with some entertainment. And I think if you're talking about ADHD, it's such self-deprecating humor, like making fun of ourselves, like talking about our own struggles. That's the way to create content that people can relate to. The way not to create content is talking at people and making them feel like there's something wrong with them, or that they're the only one with a problem. The way to make content that connects with people, and this has always been true, even if you look at celebrity endorsements with certain products, it's powerful to have a celebrity endorsement. It's even more powerful to have a celebrity endorsement who also struggled with the challenge itself. For example, there's been a commercial that's been on now for a couple of years. And the way that you can tell that an advertisement is doing well is if it continues to run, especially a paid advertisement. And Michael Phelps, the swimmer, the Olympic swimmer, was advertising for one of the online therapy apps, and talking about his mental health and his challenges with his own mental health. And we, of course, know that he got caught smoking the old ganja, the old wacky weed, right? Because everybody was shocked that Michael Phelps, the Olympian swimmer, best of all time, was smoking the ganja. Well, it was a perfect message to market match. And so if you want to get into the ADD or ADHD niche, like any other niche, talk about your struggles or challenges with that problem, what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now, right? Hopefully you have a solution, or you found a solution. Maybe you found a course, maybe you found a coaching program, event, something like that. Even a product. This works with products too, physical products of any sort. How did that, what was it like, so they can relate to it, they can feel not shamed or not like you're looking down on them, but like you're somebody who understands what they're going through. And then what happened? What did you find? What was that like when you discovered it? Did you also think that it was not going to work, right? You did all the, you hit on that, Kim, at the beginning of the show. You thought it was this, that, you were skeptical, right? You want to make them feel like they're normal for having those problems, because most times people are always skeptical. You have to begin to validate their skepticism. However, this is what it's like now. I gave it a shot because I was at my wit's end. I gave it a shot because I could not focus at whatsoever anymore. I gave it a shot because I had these consequences and I was just ready to try anything. And this is the results that I've had. And if you'd like that, I have something to give away for you, or follow me for more tips, or get my free guide, or check out this course, right? So that same formula works in any niche. Now, if you don't have the experience to be the spokesperson for the product, well, find a spokesperson, right? Use testimonials of people that the product creator is providing. Oftentimes so many products hire paid spokespeople. That's actually a legal thing to do, as long as you clarify that they are a paid spokesperson, right? A lot of times everybody's like, is this real? Is this authentic? Well, nothing's real that you've watched on TV over the past 20 years, by the way. It's all paid spokespeople.
Yeah.
It's just more powerful when it is real. So some affiliates go to royalty-free image sites and buy photos that they can legally use to create sort of a avatar of a person who's struggling with that kind of issue, to then advertise that person through maybe videos to where they're not particularly doing talking face videos. This is a more advanced strategy. It's easier to get into the business when you're using your own story, and when you're talking about your own experience, and when you've done some due diligence to actually work on finding a solution yourself, and then you go to share that solution. It's just more organic, which leads me to the question: how did you pick your niche and what you were going to decide to
that's
work
a perfect segue. What I think is so cool about this question too is that, one of the biggest maybe questions or rebuttals that I have to give back to the audience that is maybe interested but is still a little skeptical is like, oh, this is oversaturated, that I'm never going to make any money because everyone's already doing it. They've already made all the money, which is just absurd, because look at how many niches there are. I mean, wealth is one of thousands of niches that you could pick, including ADD. I would have never thought about that. But if that's something that resonates with you, something that you can speak to, something that you have solutions to big problems that, are resonating with so many others, like that is absolutely a niche that you could succeed in. And the wealth niche was sort of just like an easy pick for me. My very first like big girl job that I had was in staffing and recruiting. So I was helping people find jobs way back when. And I just, something that like I said at the beginning, I really like to make money. I really want to be wealthy. I really, I see the power that it gives to people and women in particular. And I want to help others do that. I want to help just like open up at least the doors. It takes everybody to be able to like go through those doors themselves and to, take ownership over their lives and their situation. And, nothing is going to change their situation unless they change themselves, right? Nothing changes if you don't change. But I can be the first step maybe in that process to literally change lives. And that's so powerful to me, because I'm not going to be a doctor. I'm not, not saving lives here, but hopefully changing them. Oh, you're on mute now.
Well, I like to just talk to myself a little bit, give you a little bit of an awkward feeling when I am using my lips and nothing's coming out. So, what was your experience? I'm just curious, going through our challenge and kind of our way of selling after it being somebody who's in sales, trained salespeople, has obviously done great for yourself, loves your job, is passionate about it. Just for those who are apprehensive to go through our process because they're afraid to get sold, or
Mm.
they're concerned about what was your just experience and opinion about, you touched on this earlier, going through our challenge, coming up to our blueprints. We try to use an education-based sales process where we're
Yeah.
educating people and trying to get people to understand what it is they're buying versus want to buy it versus be convinced. But we also couple them with a business plan advisor who's obviously there to help facilitate that sale, answer questions, persuade somebody if they're on the fence. Maybe it's a confidence thing, maybe, but not be slimy and grimy and try to close people and make them do things that make them feel uncomfortable. That's our intention. What was your experience like?
Yeah, it was great. Like I said at the beginning, I went in very skeptical. I went in knowing that I was going to get sold, which, again, props that you should look up whoever was my business plan advisor, because he was perfect. He was like, I'm literally not allowed to sell you. I was like, oh, what? Wait, you're not going to try to sell me? This is, hold on. Something's up. Something's fishy. But no, he's just like, I'm just here to answer your questions. And, this is just an opportunity for you if you'd like to. It's just the blueprints just show you how to get somewhere faster, really. And that was it for me. I was like, well, as a business person, I want to get to success the fastest way possible, right? And if I'm looking at my ROI, my return on investment, yes, I invested $2,500 into the blueprints, and I think that is a steal for the amount of value that you get out of it. Between my husband and I, we had hundreds of thousands of dollars of student loans to pay back, and no one bats an eye at that. No one, when you go to the student loan office as an 18-year-old or whatever, like when you're going to college, they're like, oh, yes, here's a loan for $100,000. You're going to have to pay that back, but we're not going to tell you about all that interest or something like that. But, no one bats an eye when you pay for a course in college. And to get something for $2,500 that is going to lead to almost immediate success because you're just getting to that path so much faster, you're going to make your money back. And it's certainly not $100,000 investment. So I think it's just a perception change or mindset change that you have to have. And I think there's probably skepticism around like it being like an internet course or something like that. But the proof is in the pudding. Like look at all these people that have had success doing this. I mean, it works because people are working it. It's not a given that you will get your money back, right? You still have to put in the effort. You still have to set up all of your systems. You have to show up every single day, 3 times a day, and post your content. And it certainly is not a gift card for your success, but it's exactly what it's named. It's the blueprints, as you said earlier. It gives you the exact pathways that if you do it, it's almost guaranteed that you can't fail. The only way you fail is if you quit, right? So.
Yeah. And of course, we, throughout the process, make no guarantees.
Right.
This is just your words and your experience and how you view this, right? Yes. I just want to be clear for everybody who's listening that we're not guaranteeing anyone's success, but it's clear why you're having success and why you have a positive vision for your future, because you have an empowering way of looking at this. Which is sort of the same way that I look at things, but we here at Legendary, we know that everybody has a different way. We're battling all kinds of different mindsets and perspectives and experience levels. And so, everybody comes in with sort of a different set of skeletons in their closet, if you will, ambition, goals. And I was explaining this to people at the mastermind here just recently that, I can't really base my self-esteem on what everybody does with our courses, because, everybody may just come in and do nothing with it. And if you do nothing with it, you get no results, right? I just have to, we do our very best to provide all of the resources and also to model the business models that we're teaching. This is also something that's rather important for us, is that we're not creating courses on doing drop shipping or posting products on Amazon or building an Etsy store or whatever, while making all of our money from courses, coaching, and events, which we do.
Right.
We make all of our money through selling courses, coaching, events to end customers. That's how we make our money here at Legendary Marketer. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
And we have some affiliate partners that we're affiliates, not many, but a few sprinkled throughout our company that we are also streams of income for. So we're practicing the core 4 business models, eating our own cooking, which is another, I think, validation for those of you who are new. And not that you have to buy our course or buy our programs. You do whatever you want. We encourage you to learn this information no matter whether you learn it here or somewhere else. But it's always good to look one layer deeper into, is this person who's teaching this actually using it, doing it? And my personal opinion is we should also be asking that question in traditional education,
yes,
as well, because in more power to our professors of the world and so forth. But I do happen to know quite a few people who are teaching college courses and who are professors who got their doctorate of education and spent many, many years just going to school, and then turned right around and started teaching people. And if you're teaching certain subjects, why, that's quite okay. But if you're teaching subjects like business and entrepreneurship and things of that nature, that can be a little bit of a conflict in my eyes anyways. So, you should be skeptical, friends. You should be, really doing your due diligence, asking yourself the tough questions, but also really looking at who you're deciding to learn from here in 2024 and beyond, and asking yourself, are they eating their own cooking? Do they believe in what they're doing? How are they making their money? And for us, we're making our money, eating our own cooking. And the other reason why we're teaching these business models and skill sets is because, friends, the internet is a big enough place. There really, truly is. And we're in the middle of an information revolution anyways. Everybody's going to social media to learn stuff. People are getting their news from social media.
Mm.
People are getting their current events from social media. People are learning about music. People are learning about new plays, new movies, all kinds of things from social media.
Oh, yeah.
And we're hearing that from friends and influencers and people. We're going to YouTube to listen. We hear one friend talk about it. We go to YouTube to maybe hear a review about it. It's not that, we're no longer only getting our information from TV commercials or the news. As a matter of fact, a lot of us don't trust the news anymore. And so there's 8 billion people, with lots of people who are working on I was just listening to a interview with Jeff Bezos yesterday. There's a guy named Lex Friedman who interviews, has access to a lot of these billionaires and very high profile people like Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk. Recently, he interviewed Jeff Bezos. He just interviewed. It was a 2-hour interview with Jeff Bezos. And now Jeff Bezos is one of the people who is working on, intergalactic space travel, right? And Jeff Bezos said that he has a goal and a vision, as does Elon Musk. I've heard him talk about this too, but Jeff Bezos in particular, I heard this, and I'm butchering it a little bit, so don't quote me, but of having 1 trillion people inside of our human race. In order to do that, we would have to inhabit other planets, and we would have to inhabit, space. We would have to move to space. And ultimately, one of his visions is to have people have a lot of work industrial manufacturing being done on other planets. So to preserve this planet, and Earth then becomes a place where we focus on preserving and just living and enjoying the lushness of this planet because it's the perfect planet for humans and animals to inhabit, but moving a lot of the not only people living in other places and other planets, but also a lot of the industrial manufacturing. And with this vision of 1 trillion people. Now, if you simply doubled the population from 8 billion to 16 billion, friends, that's a game changer. But here's a concept to think about. Only half of the people in the world right now have access to internet, per my latest research, right? So there's only 4 billion people right now who are even online, and that's way more people than I'll ever reach. It's way more people than any one of us content creators will ever reach. It's so many people, in fact, that the human brain has a hard time even conceiving comprehending how many people that is. And so that's the reason why we teach these skills, is because, after the pandemic, I think we all had a wake-up call that we need to have extra skills. We need to have backup plans. We need to be able to pivot and transition easily. And even if you do have a corporate job, learning and understanding these online marketing skills are important. I'll breathe. What comes up for you?
Yeah, no, there's so much there. I think mindset is such a huge thing that you talk about, that, all the greats talk about. And I think it's so powerful because it really just fuels everything that you do and how you show up every single day. And I think, it's really easy to get discouraged. I'd say around the 3-month mark is a really pivotal time for a lot of digital marketers. Because I think some of the early success stories you see by 3 months, they're making $100,000, they're making $1 million. You're just like, I've made no dollars. Like what's happening? Or I've made, a very minimal amount. And it's so easy to give up. Well, it's not working for me. And start blaming other people or other things. Like, it's Instagram, it's the algorithm, it's changed. TikTok sucks. I can't get out of 200 view jail or whatever it's called. And I was certainly there. I thought I went in sort of confident that I could do this, and I had the skills to do it. And I do still believe that I do, but that comparisonitis gets to you, and you start, what they say, it's comparison is the thief of joy, right? And you start seeing oh, well, my views are only 200 people. But again, I think you said it yesterday with Kate. You imagine speaking to a room of 200 people in person. That's a lot of individuals that you can provide value to, that you just need one. And my first high ticket commission came from a video that I think still has under 300 views on it. And it took one person to comment my keyword. She went through my funnel. She bought the $7 course. And within a matter of 2 weeks, she was my first high ticket commission. It just takes one person to make you 4 figures, which is so, so powerful. To then put that in perspective with what you were saying is the amount of endless possibilities that you have, the amount of people on this planet that you have the opportunity to talk to make a meaningful difference in your own life, just takes a handful, right? Even if you're not set on this journey to be a millionaire, but you just want to make a little bit of extra money for your family, you just want to be able to help contribute to the mortgage, whatever it might be, you can definitely do that. As long as you put your mind to it, as long as you don't give up and you kind of make it pass and stop comparing yourself to others, just put your blinders on. That's my biggest piece of advice, is put your blinders on, stay focused, and continue to test, learn, and adapt, and keep moving forward, because success is inevitable if you do that. So
yeah. And
I don't know if I answered your question, but I went on my own rant.
It's fine. I mean, and what you're talking about here is using digital strategies to be able to do that. This is bigger than um, anything that's going on here in Legendary Marketer, friends. By the way, this is not an MLM. We don't need you to join Legendary Marketer. If you choose to be an affiliate for Legendary, that's completely fine. That's a totally separate choice from going through our education. And there's no guarantees about success with being an affiliate for Legendary or being an affiliate for anywhere else. But what I hear you saying, and what I'm saying as well, is that you folks it would behoove you to learn these skills here or somewhere else, because they are what people are using online these days. At least one of the main and major ways that people are using online in 2023, moving into 2024, to be able to both, become millionaires, and that's absolutely not a guarantee, but also to supplement their income, and whether it's, folks starting an Etsy store, which is not a business model we teach, whether it's people that are posting things on Facebook Marketplace. I mean, whether it's, I'm a part of a couple of groups where people are selling high-end watches and jewelry and stuff like this right inside of Facebook groups. And it's a full community where they do reference checks. And I mean, guys and gals are selling, $100, $200, $300,000 items without ever meeting the person, just with a reference check inside of the group where people say, yeah, I vouch for this person, and then they ship it. And you never want to screw up that reputation, because you're making so many connections within that group. And, it's just, or whether you're doing affiliate marketing, or whether you're selling your own courses, coaching programs, or events, it would behoove you, my friends, to get serious about learning these skills, about learning how to use social media. So many people get on Instagram or TikTok, and of course there's a learning curve, or getting on in front of the camera. So many of us are so terrified to get in front of the camera. And the truth is that we kind of all were when we first, it was uncomfortable for all of us, but this is a skill set. And I'm sure you use it in your career. You have to, being on Zoom.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what I was going to say. It's so, like, the skills you say in the course, like, these are transferable skills that can be used either across niches, across, subsets of digital marketing, or in any of your other skills in life. The amount of confidence that I've gained through the course, through implementing what I learned in the course, through what I'm doing daily for this particular business, absolutely flow into every other part of my life, whether it's being a mom or whether it's, in my career. Oh yes, get those hats going. It absolutely flows and seeps into every part, and it's inevitable. You learn skills, and if you actually incorporate that into your daily actions, like, it's going to affect everything that you do. And again, like, whether it's my career or, my job as a mom, or my job as a wife, or my job as a digital marketer, like, the confidence that I've gained through the skills that I know now that I can go and now pass on to others, or use to make money, or use to present better in my pitches and the product that I sell, like, through my normal job, like, they all, like, it is all from this course. I accredited it all to that. So thank you, Dave.
Oh, you're so welcome. And thanks for actually going through it. I mean, that's kind of the first step is, and you wouldn't believe how many people, I mean, over 13 years of a career here, in us, Legendary is 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, coming up on 7 years old. Obviously looking at a lot of the statistics, and people not even, either starting or finishing the challenge, just the challenge, let alone any of our advanced programs, the blueprints, people just not going through it, like not actually using and consuming what they bought. But of course, going back to, like, I can imagine that, somebody's sitting there on their phone or on the computer, enroll in something, buy the challenge, and then and then go back to social media and keep scrolling. That's what I imagine. Now, giving them more of the benefit of the doubt, maybe, tons of people are getting a call from their spouse or their kids need them, or all those things are real. The distractions, going back to the ADD question, life is ADD. Forget if you've been diagnosed with it. Trying to give people the benefit of the doubt here. But my Lord, just thank you for going through it was my point here, because there is so much gold to be mined when you actually go through it. This is truly a culmination of both my experience, but also look at 850 episodes, how much wisdom and value has been dropped by our guest. I mean, there is so much here to learn. If somebody really has a desire to upgrade their skills and understand how to build and be successful with these business models, it is here. And it's not a secret of how to get it. Everything's well organized. Day 1, day 2, start here. Is all you have to do is invest the time into yourself and create the boundaries and set them and say, I'm going to do this. I deserve this. This is part of my overall goal for this year. I want to learn these skills. I want to tackle this and give it my all. I'm going to give it 6 months. I'm going to give it 6 months and do this and not quit and really, as our guest said yesterday, and I've heard this quite a bit lately, this theme of like recognizing that you always quit on things and saying to yourself, this time I'm going to follow through with this. Like, I'm not quitting on this. Like, I'm not going to allow myself to get distracted, whatever it is for you, right? To identify that commitment that you need to make to yourself, and then keeping that promise, right? And then allowing that to build your confidence, which you just touched on, and I thought was just so beautifully put. Final question: what advice would you give yourself if you were starting over today, knowing what you know now?
Whew, big last question. I would say not to compare so much. That was a big one for me. That really slowed me down, I think, in the beginning, is wanting to be like the greats. And I think, there's something to be said about, like, I think Rich Dad Poor Dad says it in his book, where you want to surround yourself with people that are smarter than you so you can learn from them. And, you are going to be like those that you have around you, right? But there's also a fine line of trying to be an exact copycat, because no one is me. No one is Kim Killian. There are other Kim K's in the world, but I'm the best one. Trust. But I think that I would, it's so difficult not to compare, right? Because if you want it so badly, you just have to believe in yourself, know that you will have your own path, your own journey, and try to harness as much of that confidence at the beginning, because it can propel you so far. Like, it can fuel you and accelerate your growth so quickly, just by doing the small things, along the way, and just showing up every single day, and, manifesting things like, I'm going to be on Wake Up Legendary. Like, the imposter syndrome that occurred when I got the email about this was outrageous. Like, I was like, they want to talk to me. Why? But, I'm like, no, they want to talk to me because I'm doing great things, and, I can help others do great things too. And, I'll be a speaker at Mastermind one day. Like, I'm going to be along, that's right. I am legendary. And, I want others to be too. And I just want to spread that word. It's like, you've got this. For everybody watching, you got this.
Love it. Love it. And I receive and send back to you all of those visions and goals and affirmations that you just gave yourself, and everybody else has on this episode as well, listening. And so keep up the great work. You're a rock star already, and you're a rock star in what you do already. And now you're just adding this to your, repertoire, your what do they call that thing when you're going to get a job? Your
resume. A JOB.
And it's just been so much fun to talk to you. I mean, it's hard to really stop to ask questions with you because I just get into this kind of back and forth because we're both, talkers and into sales and everything. And I love those kind of conversations. So thank you. Come back, see me. Let's keep doing it. Keep us posted on your journey, and my best to you and your family. Stay legendary, my friend.
Bye.
All right. See you. All right, my friends, you can go and follow Kim K, the best Kim K in the world, over on Instagram at mama_makes_money_marketing. Mama makes money marketing, underscore in between all of the words. My friends, wow, what a cool episode. What a fun episode. My remote dream says, wow, you're human too. Forget words. Absolutely. Haven't had to put one of those things in a long time. As a matter of fact, I don't know that I ever submitted a resume. Anyways, the things that we do and haven't done, we've all got our own journey here, my friends. Wow, amazing comments for Kim. Kim, go back and read some of these. Kim, thanks for the nuggets today. Amazing episode. Thank you so much, Dave and Kim. Ron says he's going to be on Wake Up Legendary as well. Love it. Thanks for sharing. Oh, that's awesome. Thanks, Kim. That was beautiful. Thank you, Kim, for the encouragement. I love this show. I love that you love this show. I love your enthusiasm and confidence, Kim. Thank you all so much for these wonderful comments. As always, it is just our pleasure to do this show for you. And we just so appreciate the support coming back from all of you. And we're glad you're getting value out of this. That's why we do this. And we also do this to model what a consistent content strategy looks like. I mean, it's called eating what your own cooking. You know what I mean? This is important to me, to actually be in the trenches doing what it is that I'm teaching. Never want to get too far removed from marketing and from connecting with an audience and building an audience and interacting with people. I mean, I didn't naturally become comfortable on camera. I'm more comfortable on camera now after 850 episodes than I was when I started. And I was more comfortable when I started doing Wake Up Legendary than I was 11 years or 10 years before that when I first got started doing this. So it's been a nonstop growing journey for me as well. And, it's always just nice when people do love what you're putting out. And so I'm sharing that with you all to let you know that the journey is real. And if you're on it, go out there and get them. There is going to be moments of despair like Kim touched on, but you keep pushing through it and you keep striving to serve your audience, connect with your audience, and deliver value. As our guest yesterday said, unsolicited advice becomes then invited advice, right? At first, it's always unsolicited. And then eventually people are like, hey, I like this. I'll be back tomorrow, or looking for your next video, right? So here we are. And the guests just keep staying awesome. And today was no exception. So thank you again, Kim. Again, you can find her over at Mama Makes Money Marketing, underscores under each word, Mama_makes_money_marketing over on Instagram. She's also on TikTok, I believe, but start with her on Instagram. There you can connect, follow, learn. Also, our guest on the show, lift them up, drop comments. This is how we support each other in this community. You see somebody out there creating content, working, putting out value, support them. Like, give them a like, give them a share, give them a comment. See if they'll duet their content. Collaborate. It's not competition around here. It's collaboration. And the more people that you're seen working with and you are working with, the more leverage you have, the more influential you become just simply by association. That's another influence principle, is that have to do this alone, and you don't want to do it alone. You want to associate yourself with other successful people because you gain influence by association, just being associated with people. Gosh, man, I could just keep doing, keep talking about marketing and talking about sales and talking about entrepreneurship all day long, but all good things must come to an end. We'll see you back here tomorrow, my friends, for another episode. Be great, stay legendary. Love you all. Thank you for the support as always and the kind comments for me, but especially our guest today, Kim. Wonderful episode. Get out of here, my friends. Stay legendary. Peace.